Right. Okay.
Make sure you know.
And make sure you get the moat right. And then remember that we're in a market that's priced at 250% of GDP, and just realize it's going to be really unusual to find companies available in the United States that are on sale right now. So we're aggressively looking at emerging economies and looking at China and trying to puzzle that out. And I can tell you, it's not a 6-inch bar, you know? And so the solution to a lot of these problems is just to be patient, and the market will change. And when it does, so much of this concern about certainty will go away. You'll know several great companies you want to own, and their price will be completely reasonable. And then you can buy them.
Yeah. So then it's really thinking, okay, this price seems reasonable. It's met all the stuff, all the checklist items. How confident am I that I've got this right, that I actually understand the moat, that all the reading, I haven't like missed something major. And I think for me, that comes down to like understanding the company to really, you know, not that I can't be wrong about it, but to have a sense of I've pretty much like gone around the circle of this company in every way that I can think of. I've read every article about it. Nobody else has asked any questions that I haven't missed any questions that have been asked by other people. I've come up with my own concerns. And what I do is kind of like game out, okay, something bad happens. What happens to this company? Like, what are they going to do about it? And how's everybody else going to think about them? And how do they like get through 5 years of terrible sales or a huge recession?
I think that's really good. Those are all good inversions.
But that gaming, you know, that's where I think like, oh, I could easily be missing something here. Like probably a pandemic was not on my gaming list before.
Yeah. Which I think falls well within Charlie's vicissitudes of life that he talks about, that are the very reason that we take our certainty, right, and then insist on a margin of safety, which seems contradictory, right? Or at the very least ironic. I mean, you're so certain, why don't you just buy it? And the reason is because things can happen. You can have pandemics. You can have CEOs that are crappy. You can have unexpected attacks on the moat that you didn't see coming. That's just the nature of life. And by getting that big margin of safety, we are so wonderfully suppressing the impact of those things. So this thing is already tumbling down because of some problem they've got. Some event has happened. You know they have a big moat. You're confident in management, but you know, understand things can happen. What it really needs is just you have really dug into this company and understand it well, and have done all the work, and then you get this big margin of safety. And so you look at the key elements that we're looking at. This company that you understand well has very large free cash flow and basically no debt. So when you combine those two things, just understanding business, you've got money coming in, you don't owe anybody anything, you're in a terrific position to weather a storm, in a much better position than most of the companies you're actually competing with in that industry. And so there's another safety, right? By having moat be defined as high free cash flow, no debt. Those are the elements of understanding the business that we go through on the checklist. We find ourselves in a really strong position to ride out a storm. And usually the company that we're riding out the storm with, the stock can go down dramatically. That's not a permanent loss of capital that we fear. That we don't worry about that. That's not losing money. Losing money is a permanent loss of capital where you made a mistake and the company that you bought for $10 is worth $5. That's going to show up and bite you in the rear. But if the company is worth $10 and it goes to $5, that's not the same thing. That's just the market fluctuations that are a natural part of the market. Eventually, it will go back. And when it does, The fact that it was one of these really big moat companies means that its competition has gotten much weaker during this recession that's happened. And as a result of that, this company is going to come out of that recession with less competition, perhaps have purchased some of the competition, and you're in a
That's
much
really
better shape.
interesting. I had not put that together. Love that.
Yeah, it's a very powerful part of the whole thing.
Better position than the competition.
Keep thinking of, as an example of this, you could look up Bank OZK, which is a regional bank in the United States. It's rated one of the top 50 banks in the world, actually. And it's a regional bank, just run by some really good people who know what they're doing. And in 2007 and 8, when there was a huge banking crisis and banks were freezing up, over the next few years, America went from having like 9,000 banks to 4,000 banks. So many of them failed and were absorbed. This company was loaded with cash. Its stock price went down like a brick with everybody else's in the banking industry, but they were loaded with cash, no debt, and they came out of it as a bank buyer. And they started acquiring banks from the government that had taken over all these banks. I think they bought 14 banks in 2 years. And the impact of that on the company was huge. I mean, they just exploded in growth after that.
Yeah.
So this is a very, prime example of that, of a smart investment team or a smart ownership team taking.
No, but I think investment team is right. Because I was just thinking, it sounds exactly like the way we think about our investing, to be ready at a time when things go down in price and they become available on sale. That's exactly what you're describing they did with their competitors. I mean, it sounds like not so nice to take advantage of situations that other companies have found themselves in. But in a way, it saves a company, hopefully saves some jobs that maybe would have otherwise gone away. And
and these banks were under receivership.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the government had already done the damage, or the bank had been damaged, and the government had taken over to prevent the shareholders or all of the people who were putting money in the bank from losing money. So what OZK did was great on all levels, morally, financially, everything. The guy that did that is George Gleason, and he is really a terrific CEO. I really like the guy a lot. I've never met him, but I appreciate that he manages his bank the way Warren Buffett manages Berkshire. Very, very similar. Doesn't worry about what the bank's stock price is. What he worries about is that he's got the cash when he needs it to do the things he wants to do. And it runs a good company. Now, you guys who are listening to this, remember, this is not advice.
No.
Don't run out and buy Bank OZK just because I'm sitting here talking about it on a podcast.
Probably has all kinds of secrets that everybody needs to go find out about.
That's right.
What did the short sellers say?
Yes. And there was a strong short seller position against Bank OZK.
Isn't there always?
Go find out why.
But I just wrote down, how will this company fare differently than its competition in a downturn? How will they come out of it better than its direct corollaries in the same industry? Yep. That's like a really good thought experiment. How are they differently situated? Are they differently situated? Maybe they're not. That's a really good inversion.
It's a really cool thing to look at when you go back and look at the last recession. It is the primary reason we want to see 10 years of data. Although for the first time in my investing life, 10 years of data isn't enough. It's amazing. You guys, if you enjoyed this video and you feel it was valuable in teaching you more about how to invest, hit the like button and please share the video with your friends. And if you want more investing content, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the button on the screen. We got a free gift for you. Thanks again for watching.